Welcome to our presentation. In this project, we aim to demonstrate the link between architectural and social history by examining the changing function of a series of buildings along Bute Street in Cardiff Bay. The heritage industry as a whole has been criticised for focusing too much on the exact preservation of buildings, so our aim is to demonstrate the positives and negatives of change and the reason behind this.
A key aspect of our project is looking at the reasons why the functions of these buildings has changed. For the most part, this is due to the area's changing demographic creating a need for more amenities, both to service those already living in the area and to attract new residents. Due to Bute Street's proximity to both Cardiff city centre and Cardiff Bay, its appeal has changed from attracting people who work in the coal and shipping trades to attracting middle-class professionals and families. Our project will show how Bute Street's buildings have adapted to accommodate and promote this changing demographic.
When initially studying how the Church of St Mary the Virgin and St Stephen the Martyr has changed over time, the first thing that really stood out to us was the drastic change in its appearance. The photo on the left-hand side depicts the very beautifully detailed church that was built in 1843 to replace the previous church, which was damaged by floods and the Civil War. Comparing this picture to the modern-day view, there are very obvious differences. One of the most prominent ones is that the church is now closely neighboured to almost shed-like looking flats, and that there's much less urban space around the church. This can be seen as also reflecting the change in use to represent a change in population demographics. Off the back of the Welsh boost in production regarding steel and coal, Cardiff experienced an influx of thousands of migrants who came and settled close to the bay. This provided more demand for the church as a place for people to worship religion, as well as provide a space for communities to bond and settle. Seen by the archival evidence of people being baptised, married and buried in the church between 1843 and 1932. Comparing this to modern times, the reduction in open space to accommodate housing shows the population of Bute Town has continued to grow since the early 1900s and suggests that the pressure to meet the housing demand has increased for local governments. However, it's also important to note that the relevance of the church as a symbol of solidarity has continued through the decades, and the church continues to engage in projects involving the community, such as Project 365, which promotes daily prayer.
The images here depict the Cardiff Bay Railway Station in both 1963 on the left and April 2024 on the right. Looking at the first photo, both the station building and original track work can be seen. The station building and a portion of the track remains today, though most is blocked by the addition of a patio space and coffee kiosk as seen in the photo on the right. The tracks were previously part of a line that opened in October 1840 and continued further down to Cardiff Bay. The station itself was first mentioned in railway timetables in December 1844, indicating that it was a later addition to the original line due to the growing population of Bute Street following the rise of industrialization. Cardiff Bay Station was first named Cardiff Bute Dock upon opening, but soon was renamed to Cardiff Docks in the year after, in 1845. The station was where the first steam-powered train ran in Wales, a testament to both the expansion of rail technology and the prominence of coal in the community. Despite the station not appearing in timetables until 1844, the station building was first used in 1843, serving as the head office of the Taff Vale Railway, known as the TVR. The southern section of the building was built in the 1860s, however it served as the offices for the TVR for a little time as they soon relocated to a new building on Queen Street in 1862. The previous space was then let as consulates, with the nations of Belgium, Brazil, the Netherlands, and Portugal all holding offices in the building. This transition of the space, as well as the transnational nature of the consulates and country representatives, indicates the further growth of industry in Wales and the international community it created within South Wales through the exporting of resources and immigration of foreign workers. The station would be renamed again to Cardiff Bute Road in 1924, with renovations to the building only happening in the 1980s as it was transformed to be a local railway museum under the Bute Town Historical Railway Society. The station name would change for a final time to its current name of Cardiff Bay in 1994. However, the Railway Museum would soon close. Today, the railway stop is the end of its lines that it services, and the station building has gone through several rounds of refurbishment after sitting abandoned for years following the closure of the Railway Museum. It now has office spaces available to let. However, only one space is currently occupied, and the coffee kiosk and patio area are permanently closed. The station itself does remain busy. While the preservation of the space demonstrates the importance the community places in history, the lack of businesses in the areas indicate that those outside the community may not see its value, especially as it lies further into residential areas than the commercialized bay.
These two images both depict Corey's building, which stands on Butte Street. On the left, we have an image taken from the Building News showing Corey's building in 1897, and on the right, we have an image taken specifically for the purposes of this presentation a few weeks ago. You can see that the overall appearance of the building hasn't changed much, which, as a Grade 2 listed building, we would expect. A lot of buildings along Butte Street have a Grade 2 listing, since this area was part of the architectural development of which the middle class was so proud. The building itself was originally built to be the headquarters of the Corey Brothers Shipping Company, which was a major exporter of coal in the 19th century. The proximity of this building to the docks demonstrates Cardiff's role not only as a shipping centre, but also as an administrative centre, as this is where the administration for all of the Corey Brothers shipping was conducted. John Corey himself was a prominent figure in the development of Cardiff's middle class, and is labelled by historian Neil Evans as having been, and I quote, a symbolic figure in the development of Cardiff's elite. His legacy is reflected in Cardiff's architecture, as not only has this building been preserved, but a statue of him erected in his lifetime still stands in Gorsedd Gardens, opposite City Hall, the Civic Centre and the National Museum. The statue's inscription describes Corey as a coal owner and philanthropist, conveying his legacy through architecture. According to Wales Online, there are plans to develop both Corey's building and the nearby Merchant House into a sixth form college. This development is designed to meet the changing needs of the area's population. As many families have moved to the area for work, this college is intended to meet their children's educational needs. The selection of Corey's building as a home for this new college is in line with John Corey's legacy, as he served on the Cardiff School Board for 23 years during his lifetime. The plans have also made clear that the developers intend to make minimal changes to the appearance of this building, thus Corey's architectural legacy lives on.
Finally, the photos on the screen now show Cardiff Bay itself, located next to Butte Street. This used to be home to the Welsh Industrial and Maritime Museum, but is now home to the Mermaid Quay Shopping Centre, which opened in 1999. The decision to close the museum to make way for a shopping centre demonstrates the changing requirements of the area, as developers are now less interested in the area's history and more interested in making the area appealing for potential new residents by supplying them with modern amenities.
The bay itself has been adapted for tourism and residents alike, with a huge increase in amenities such as restaurants developed to attract people to the area. This demonstrates, as can be seen through comparing the photographs, the changing role of Cardiff Bay from industrial hub to tourist attraction. This links to our section on Cardiff Bay Railway Station, which was originally used to export coal, but now is used to import tourists. Little of the original architecture of Cardiff Bay's industrial past remains, demonstrating a complete shift in the area's intended purpose.
Cardiff Bay's transformation of purpose is reflective of the gentrification of the area. Whereas historically the area attracted many immigrant workers, the development of the area has changed its demographic to the professional class. This is because homes have skyrocketed in price thanks to both the architectural development of the area and the location's proximity to Cardiff city centre, making them unaffordable for Cardiff Bay's historic population of poorer dock workers. Furthermore, Cardiff Bay faces the issue of the English buying up property as second homes. This makes accommodation even scarcer, thus drives up house prices further. Overall, Cardiff Bay's changing architecture could be argued to be a microcosm of the area's gentrification, as the industrial machinery of the past has been replaced almost entirely with modern professional tourist establishments.
We hope that by watching our presentation, you have gained a greater understanding and appreciation of the buildings of Butte Street, as well as the people who live there. While the changes that have occurred throughout the years have transformed the street and its landmarks, many of these have been enacted by outside forces seeking to find profit in a small, tight-knit community. As these spaces continue to grow and change, the makeup of Butte Street will do the same, potentially resulting in a completely new demographic within the coming decades. Thank you for watching our presentation.